Sheriff John Buncich of the Lake County. We'll talk for a few minutes, and we'll take your phone calls at 219-845-1100 if you have any comments or questions for the sheriff. Of course, he's been on the job now for 7 months on the
on his 7 years
on the second time around, and a lot has happened in that time. And if you have any questions for him, feel free. He wants to hear from you guys. I got to tell you right now that sometimes he'll come in here. I think people think because it's a sheriff that they get a little intimidated, but I wish you would put that aside and call him.
You got it.
He's very approachable. 219-845-1100. Let's go to Dave on line one. Dave, you're on with Sheriff John Buncich.
Yeah, I was wondering on the state line corridor there off of Holman Avenue. I see a lot of. I live over there, and I see a lot of people coming across state line, walking up to cars, sit in the car for a few minutes, get out, and go back across the state line. And I know Hammond's been over there patrolling it pretty good and trying to do something about it, but this is still continuing. It's still happening, and you know what they're doing. I mean, they're pulling up, parking on side streets, and then the people are walking across the state line, making their deals, and then going back across. And we need something to be done about that, because that shouldn't be happening in that area. That's still a lot of nice homes, a lot of old people live in them areas, and Hammond just really can't do everything that they need to do to protect the people.
Right. You know, our undercover officers are doing a lot of work in a lot of these areas and continue to do so. And you know, there's been a couple of homicides, a couple of bodies found in Gary over the last couple of weeks, and it's obvious what the occurrences are there. You had a young lady from LaPorte. You had a young man from Couts. You know what they're doing in those areas. It's obvious what they're doing, and they lost their lives because of apparently you know, drugs and that sort of activity. They come to purchase their drugs, and of course the individuals that you're purchasing them from, you know, they prey on individuals, and we just have to stay on top of it. It's occurring all the time, and it's occurring in every area of this county. Like I told at luncheon the other day, don't think you're immune because you live in a middle class or upper middle class area. These things are occurring everywhere, and you just can't bury your head in the sand.
Most definitely.
You got it.
What would you like to see in that area? Now, what are you talking about? You're talking obviously about south of Holman, what, closer to the river or closer?
Right.
I mean, south of 165th, closer to the river or closer to 65th?
Closer to the river.
Coming off of Lansing over there?
Right. They put the divider up in the road where you can't go between state line and Illinois. I mean, Indiana and Illinois. But they're walking. Particularly where I live, on the street that I live on, there's 4 or 5 people that I see. They'll come up and park right in front of my house, and then I've got traffic coming from across the street. They get in the car, I watch them. They're there for a few minutes, get out. An hour later, they're back walking across the street, and it's the people that are living on the other side of the Illinois side that are coming over to the Hammond side to make the deals, because that divider keeps them from going from one side to the other.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dave.
219-845-1100. That's the phone line. You know, let's move on to some other stuff. Chicago. Let's just look at what's going on up there. They've had 41 police shootings, and I mean where cops have shot robbers or some of the bad guys since the beginning of the year. Last year it was only 25. The new police chief, and the name escapes me, is saying, hey, listen, we have 8 times more guns per capita on the street in Chicago than they do in New York. And quite frankly, a lot of the crime is escalating right now, and it's just a very tough time. Are you seeing the same kind of challenges right now?
There are more guns on the street. There's no doubt about it. And what's frightening is the age of the individuals that are carrying these weapons. And our officers are telling me that it's just commonplace that they're finding guns on everybody. They're getting them, and these gangs again, these drug dealers. It's a commonplace for just them to have these weapons on them. And you know, you say, oh, why are there so many shootings in Chicago? Why are the cops shooting so many individuals? They just don't go out and just shoot an individual for no reason whatsoever. That weapon is drawn on that officer. Hey, and that officer is trained that if his life is threatened, he has to take action. I mean, we don't want to bury cops. I mean, So that's the situation. You
Yeah,
have
I mean
more guns,
that's
you have
kind of
more
what they're
instances.
saying. Is
Yeah.
it seems like there's more guns on the street in the last 6 months than there
And
ever has
they're in
been.
the wrong hands. That's what it is. I mean, you got these punks, this street scum that's carrying these guns, and they don't know how to use them. All they know is they watch these gangster movies, and that sort of thing, and they think they're going to let them try to pull a gun on a cop. Let them try it.
219-845-1100. Let's go to Phil on line 1. Hi, Phil. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
What's the phone number for anonymous calls?
1-800-750-2746.
You're doing a good job, Sheriff.
Thank you. Just call that number. Give us a call. Give us some
845.
information.
What do you mean case?
That is progressing. There's investigations going on, and I'm pursuing that even more so because of, again, there was articles in the paper, a follow-up on that case that it slipped through the cracks. It really did. So, like I said before, Jed, somebody dropped the ball there. Child Protective Services, the schools, neighbors, nobody took the concern, and the mother, the biological mother of the child. I don't want to say too much. There's a gag order on everything, but the child should have never died. He was lost in the system, and the judges put a gag order on everything. So I'm not allowed to say too much concerning that. And,
your lawyer's probably going.
Yeah,
I think he's already said
up.
enough.
Yeah.
All right. I forgot about
one
that
thing
gag
too. I
order
want to
in
talk
that
about,
case.
and we talked about these bath salts and the street weed that they're selling in these stores, these convenience stores now, and gas stations throughout Lake County, and that. And we're launching again another campaign because it's really getting, to me, it seems like an epidemic situation. In the last month in the Lake County Jail, we've had 6 individuals that we've had to put into our mental health ward who came into the jail that were admittedly using this bath salts. They were snorting it, and it's causing such hallucinogenic, violent behavior, suicidal tendencies. 6 of them in our jail in the last 30 days. I talked to my mental health director the other day, and he says it appears that these things are like it has the same tendencies like methamphetamine, LSD, that sort of thing. The violent behavior, and we're going to. I talk about this at community. I talked in Gary about 3-4 weeks ago, and a lot of the council people were there, and the police chief and his staff were there, and we talked about the dangers of this, and we're buying it. I've sent some officers out, and they've made these buys just as recent as yesterday. So this is ongoing, and we talked. Like at the luncheon the other day, I talked to Cheryl and talked about it, and kids everywhere are using this, and it's dangerous. It causes an immediate personality change, and it causes, again, if you use enough of it, the violent behavior, and could cause suicidal tendencies. So we have to do something, and it was featured on a Dateline 1-hour show about a month ago, and again, only 6 states in the country have outlawed this. We've got to start getting local ordinances right now, and then we're going to work with I'm going to work vigorously urging the legislature, along with other law enforcement officials, to do something next year. They passed a watered-down bill that went into effect July 1st of this year against this street weed, and you got to be a chemist to figure out the chemical makeup of all this stuff. But the bottom line is they shouldn't be selling it. It shouldn't be sold. Sure, it's under the counter, but these kids know, these young men and women know, hey, go ask the guy about the stuff underneath the counter. I want to buy this stuff. So we've got to put a stop to it. And I urge the public out there, I urge parents, if you see something going on with your child where there's abnormal behavior, a change in personality, a change in the type of individuals they're hanging around with, your child's hanging around with, do something. Don't wait. Don't say, like everybody's, my kid is my friend now. My son or daughter is my friend. Take the active role as a parent, and take charge of that and see what's going on. Find out. You may save their life in the long run. I'm telling you. That's what's happening. So
Sheriff John Buncich is in the house. We covered a lot of ground today. Let's take a short break. We'll be back up to finish up. If you got a last phone call, you better Sheriff do it now.
oh
John Buncich is in the house. We've covered some major ground today, but let's take a couple of your phone calls before we head it on out. Let's go to Tom on line 1. Hi, Tom.
Hi, I just got one quick question for you there. Let's say you live out toward Knox and you see two Lake County community police officers doing about 90 miles an hour down Route 8 on a Sunday in plain clothes. What do you do about that?
Well, wait, hang on.
Driving at a dangerous speed here.
Hang on. We want more details. Go ahead, Sheriff.
If it's you'd like to notify the sheriff's office, I encourage you to call 755-3400 and file a citizen's report. All right? We want to know about these things. We'll identify. That's why we have most recently all the marked vehicles have numbers on them now, so the public's aware of who's out there and everything else. But we don't tolerate any abuse, and I welcome calls like that so we can check into that type of information.
On Route
Please
8,
do so.
On Route 8 on a Sunday, are you sure they weren't doing police business?
It didn't look like it. They're coming back from fishing or something, but I mean, there's plenty of police agencies between Knox and Crown Point there to handle anything, right? You know what I mean?
Okay, thanks.
Knox, that's over in where is that? Stark County, over there.
Yeah, that's way past.
Yeah, was the sheriff Lake County or was it? All county cars have markings the same. The two-tone brown.
They were. Let's say they were a town just southwest of Crown Point over there.
Okay.
Town there.
The Couts area, you mean, talking about, or what?
Cedar Lake, actually.
Oh, okay.
That's the SUVs they got over there. They were flying through there.
You got information like that, get a car number or something, call my office. We will check it out. I promise you that.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
There you go. Sheriff John Buncich in the house. Sheriff, we started out talking about the gang and drug unit. We were talking about the case of the Peebles brothers.
Right.
That's obviously...
Yeah. I mean, that activity over there. I want to point this out. I started out telling them how they did a drive-by over there, shooting. Picture this area, 151st, Alcott, 1 block east of the boulevard. Well, we're on Alcott here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So just a little ways here. But think of the people that live there, the citizens that live there. How would you like to be living there when these jerks, who are admittedly gangster disciples, and they're shooting at, they're warring with the Imperial Gangsters and the 2-6ers and, all these other stupid names that they have. But they're out there shooting about a block away or 2 blocks away from St. Stan's Church, and you got the convent, you got the rectory, you got a school right over there off of Magoon over there. I mean, you got some decent people living in there, trying to live peacefully. You got Kosciuszko Park over there, and all this stuff's going on. Give me a break, That's why we've got to take a stronger position on these jerks and put them away where they belong.
Gang and drug unit has, we've got some stats from June for the first 6 months here. You're talking about 374 charges that have been brought, 31 firearms recovered, 181 vehicles towed, and $1,146,000 that has been seized. Where does that money go?
We're waiting to get it. Some of it's coming very shortly, I hope, because we need it. We need to.
So you seize the money, and the sheriff's.
We file for forfeiture.
And you file for forfeiture.
Right.
So over $1 million.
Seize the vehicles. A lot of the vehicles we seize, we could use them. That's what we do. We just recycle them. Take them away from the bad guy and put them into use for the good guys.
So, in your mind, is the gang and drug unit hitting on all cylinders right now?
Yes, it is, and it's worth every dollar. It is. So we put it into effect. There wasn't one in business last, previous to January 1, and we put it back into effect, and it speaks for itself. And we're working with I want to just give my hats off to the other local agencies because. I've dealt with a couple of the chiefs here in the northern part of the county, and we're working together. We're combining our efforts. Our gang guys are working with their gang guys, their gang supervisors, our gang supervisors. We're sharing this information. We let them know when we're in their area, when this is paying off for everybody.
Sheriff John Buncich, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.